Have you ever had a great content idea only to lose it before you could write it down? That's exactly the problem we are solving today. In this video, we are going to build an AI system that will turn your voice into high-quality LinkedIn post. Just pull out your phone, record your idea, and let the system handle the rest. Let's get started. The first thing we need is an IDE, which stands for Integrated Development Environment, but don't worry, you won't need to write a single line of code. At the moment, I'm using VS Code, but you can use Google Anti-Gravity or whatever IDE of your choice. In case of VS Code, you want to click on Extensions, search for Claude, and click on this small icon here. You will need at least the $20 subscription in order to be able to connect IDE with your Claude account. Once you have your Claude account connected to your IDE, click on the bottom right and switch Edit Automatically to Plan mode. Basically, we want to create a plan for our tool and describe everything we want inside our tool. To make it easier for Claude to design the tool the way I want it, I went to ChatGPT and I generated an image of a front-end tool the way I want it. So I gave it a few descriptions and it generated this image. So now I'm gonna copy it and go back to VS Code, paste it here. Then I'm gonna tell it to build me a one-page web app for recording a voice note and sending it via webhook. Match the look and the layout of the attached screenshot exactly. In terms of functionality, I want to allow the user to record, pause, resume, and cancel the voice recording. And when the user presses the submit button, it needs to send the data via a webhook that we are going to grab from N8N. And lastly, I wanted to build the tool as a Next.js app, because if we don't precise this, it may create the tool as a static HTML page. And the last one isn't necessary because I simply mentioned that it doesn't need to include the logo on the top left nor the sign in on top right, because the generated image that I have generated ChatGPT included these two. As you can see, voice to content and sign in. Now let's create our plan. While waiting for Claude to create the plan for our tool, head over vercel.com and create an account. Vercel offers a free plan and is where we are going to host our application. It simply makes our tool accessible through a URL. Now let's go back to VS Code. Okay, so Claude has finished preparing a plan for our tool. Let's review it and see if everything is exactly as we want it to be. Okay, the UI matched the attached screenshot layout, copy and styling, minus the logo and sign in link. I think everything looks exactly like we want, so let's click yes and auto accept. Now let's start building our workflow that will transcribe the audio content and turns it into LinkedIn posts. So head over N8N, click on the plus and search for webhook, switch the HTTP method to post, and for the workflow we are going to start with the test URL. Basically, we want to grab the test webhook URL and feed it to Claude and build our system. Once we are done building the system, we are going to swap the test URL with the production URL. Then click on the plus, search for HTTP. For the method, we are going to switch it to post, and for the URL, we are going to type in the following URL. We are going to use a tool named Deepgram to transcribe the audio content. Then enable send query parameters. On the name, you want to type in model, and on the value, type in Nova 3. Then again, click on add query parameter. On the name, type in smart format, and on the value, type in true. Then enable send headers. For the specify headers, leave it as using fields below, and name, type in authorization, and on the value, type in token space, and we are going to grab Deepgram API and paste it here. So head over deepgram.com, create an account. Deepgram is a paid tool, but it will give you enough credit to allow you to run this tool for a long period of time. So once you create your account, click on API keys on the left side menu, create an API key. On the name, LinkedIn voice to post, and for set expiration, I personally leave it to never. You can give it a duration, but if you give it a duration, you will need to swap it at some point. Once you create your API key, head back to N8N and paste it here next to token. Next, enable send body and switch body content type to N8N binary file. On the input data field name, we are going to grab it from the webhook. So in order to do so, we need to trigger our system. So let's head over VS Code and see if Claude has finished building our tool. And as you can see, Claude has finished building it. Right now, what we need is the webhook URL. So head over N8N and let's grab the webhook URL. Let's grab the test URL. As you can see, I gave Claude my webhook URL and I prompted to deploy the tool, but I highly recommend you don't give it directly inside the chat, but rather paste it inside .env file, because I already had my Vercel account connected to Claude. Claude right now tried to deploy the tool directly inside my Vercel account. That's the reason why I've interrupted that and asked it to deploy it locally, because I want to show you how you can deploy it to Vercel later on. So this is the URL of our tool. Let's copy it and paste it inside our browser. So this is how the front end of our tool looks like. Let's give it a shot and see. First, let's trigger our workflow. Let's deactivate the HTTP request, execute the workflow. Now let's give our tool a shot and see if it will send the recorded audio directly to N8N via the webhook call. So let's stop recording. And as you can see, we have received the audio. Now let's enable the HTTP request. Let's rename it to deepgram, and on the input data field name, you want to copy this term here in orange, which is audio in our case. So let's spin this node in order to keep using the recorded audio without having to trigger our system over and over again, and see how the transcription will look like. Okay, our deepgram node has successfully transcribed our content. So let's see. And as you can see, this is the transcription of our audio that we have sent through our tool. Now let's spin this node too and continue building our workflow. Now we want to take this transcription and turn it into a LinkedIn post. And in order to do so, we need an AI agent. So click on the plus and search for AI agent. On connected chat trigger node, you want to switch it to define below. And let's type in, here is the transcription. Turn this one to expression and bring in the transcription from the previous node. Then click on add option, system message, and let's expand it. Here we are going to define our criteria. As you can see, this is the prompt I'm giving to this AI agent. And once we are done with that, click on chat model and search for OpenAI. In my case, I'm going to use the GPT 5.4 mini, but at the time of you watching this video, probably there will be a better model, so it is completely up to you. Okay, I have triggered this system by actually recording this time a real audio. And as you can see, this is how the audio looks like. So here is the transcription. I keep seeing people say that Claude, okay, is going to replace tools like N8N. The transcription had obviously some mistakes, but I don't think this is just 100% on the tool. This is also about me because I probably didn't mention certain terms properly. And this is the actual post that our AI agent has created. And as you can see, it has understood that I'm talking about Claude and N8N. People keep saying Claude is going to replace N8N. I don't think that's true, at least not today. They solve different problems. So it took my recorded audio and transformed it into a LinkedIn post, of course, by doing some changes. The system prompt isn't optimized, as you can see, because I personally don't like the hook. I've generated this prompt using ChatGPT, but I highly recommend you generate some posts, see what looks good, what looks bad, and then update the system prompt and repeat this process until you like the output. Real quick, if you would like to see more of these business problems solved with AI and automation, I would really appreciate if you could drop a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel because it really helps us a lot. Now that our AI agent is able to generate LinkedIn posts, the next thing you need to do is search for edit fields. Edit fields is a very important node in this workflow, but I'm going to explain its value when we start building our second agent, which is going to happen very soon. So on the name, let's type in content, let's leave it to string, and on the value, let's bring in the output here, json.output. At this point, we can easily add LinkedIn node and push the generated content from our AI agent directly to LinkedIn. But there is a problem. We don't know whether every post that will be generated from our AI agent will meet our requirements. That's why we need human in the loop. Basically, we want that every time our AI agent generates a post, it needs to be sent to us via email, Telegram, or whatever channel you prefer for us to review it to decide whether this post can be published directly to LinkedIn or needs some changes. And for that, we need human in the loop. So click on the plus, search for human in the loop. In my case, I'm going to use Gmail, but of course you can use Slack, Telegram, whatever channel you prefer. So Gmail, I'm going to use the following email address. For the subject line, I'm going to type in something like this: LinkedIn post ready for review. Let's turn this message to expression, expand it. And for the body, I'm going to type in something like this: hey, Abdulkader, your voice note has been turned into Polish LinkedIn post based on your idea, and so on. Now we need to trigger our workflow in order to grab in the variable from edit fields, disable the send message, and let's trigger our workflow. Okay, it has been successfully triggered. Now let's bring in the content here. Then for the response type, you want to switch it to free text, then click on add option, append an attribution, and disable it. For the response type, I chose free text because it gives us the flexibility to input our feedback the way we want. That's mean like we can type in, yes, we like this post, you can publish it, and the second agent will publish the post. And if we don't like the post, we can simply say that, no, I don't like the post because the hook doesn't meet my requirement, or because the CTA isn't what I want, something like this. And according to what you give as a feedback to the second agent, it will decide whether the post should be rewritten again or published directly to your LinkedIn account. Before we add our next node, let's trigger our workflow in order to get the variable from the sent message. So let's execute our workflow. So this is how the email will look like. And once we click on respond, you will see the email itself, and below you will see the LinkedIn post. So all we have to do is type in our feedback. In terms of response, I'm gonna say, I don't think the hook is strong enough. It doesn't create enough curiosity to make someone want to read the rest of the post. Now, in order to be able to process this feedback and decide whether the post should be rewritten or published inside LinkedIn, we need text classifier. So search for text classifier. On the text to classify, you want to bring in the response from send a message, and then click on add category. The first category, I'm gonna name it approved, and I'm gonna say something like this: user is satisfied with the generated post. This includes responses like it is good, looks good, perfect. And for the second category, I'm gonna name it rejected, and on description, I'm gonna say something like this: user is not satisfied with the LinkedIn post and wants changes. This include not good, redo, regenerate, replace one, regenerate. Then click on add option, enable auto fixing. Then next, let's connect the model with the chat model of our first AI agent. For the rejected part, we are going to add a second AI agent. The role of the second AI agent is to improve the LinkedIn post based on our own feedback. So for the source for prompt, you want to switch it to define below. For the user message, we are going to provide it with the following information. So we are going to provide it with the voice transcript, the current LinkedIn post, and the user feedback. So for the voice transcript, we are going to bring it from the HTTP request deepgram. So scroll down until you find transcription and bring it here. For the current LinkedIn post, it will be from the AI agent, the first AI agent. So its output, bring it here. And for the user feedback, it will be from the send message, and it is the following one. Then come to add option, system prompt. Let's delete this one, expand it. For the second AI agent system prompt, I'm going to use the following one. I'm going to drop a link on the description below so you can download this workflow and you can see yourself how the system prompts look like for the first and second AI agent. Then come to chat model and let's connect it again with the OpenAI chat model. As you can see, I've triggered again the workflow, and since my feedback was negative previously because I wasn't a big fan of the hook, the text classifier has followed the rejected path. Now what we need to do is to connect the second AI agent back to edit fields. Now that we have connected the second AI agent back to edit fields, I'm going to explain what is the role of edit fields. Since both of AI agents share the same variable, which is JSON.output, edit fields will always take the most recent output from one of these two AI agents. So if the workflow has been triggered for the first time, the value on this JSON.output will be from the first AI agent. And if you have expressed a negative sentiment, in this case, the value of the LinkedIn post will be from the second AI agent. Now let's work on our approved path. And you want to search for LinkedIn. Create a post, select your profile, and on the text, we want to bring in the variable content from our edit fields. Now that we are done with our N8N workflow, let's go back to our Claude account and connect it with our Vercel account so we can deploy the tool live. But first, as I've mentioned previously, we are going to swap the test webhook URL with the production URL. So we want to come to your webhook and copy your production URL. Now, in order to connect your Vercel account to your Claude account, in order to push this tool live, you want to type in something like this: install the Vercel CLI and log me into my Vercel account. Then press enter. Once you type in that instruction, a new window like this one will pop in. Simply click allow, then head over your IDE, and as you can see, we have a question: have you approved the device login at the link above? Yes, approved. Sometimes it will not ask you that question, so don't worry if Claude didn't ask you that question. You are logged in as applicator, so I've asked Claude to push this tool directly inside my Vercel account and switch the webhook test URL with this production URL. And as you can see, the production URL is ready. So if we head over my Vercel account, we see voice to content project deployed. Now I'm going to give it a quick test with the production webhook URL and see how everything will look like. Okay, so I finished recording a quick example. Actually, it is the same example I've recorded previously. Just check my email inbox, and as you can see, I've just received an email right now. And if we click respond, we will have the same structure we have seen previously. I'm gonna say that it is good, and let's see if it will be published inside my LinkedIn account. Yes, I like it. The post has been published right now. People keep saying Claude is going to replace N8N. I don't think that's true, at least not today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to drop a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or you want me to build a specific system, feel free to drop a comment below and I'll try to respond to you as soon as I can. See you on the next video.